Have you ever felt as if something unseen keeps pulling you back every time you try to move forward in life? Have you ever looked at your own experiences and wondered why the same kinds of people, the same painful pattern, and the same setbacks keep repeating, almost as if some invisible force refuses to let you go? Welcome back to the channel. It is really good to have you here again. Today we are going to dive into a topic that many people sense but rarely understand clearly: the idea of invisible karmic creditors. Those strange, repeating entanglements in your life that feel like you owe someone something, even if you cannot logically explain why. Those people who seem to appear again and again, bringing friction, hurt, or heavy emotional pressure, almost as if there is a debt written somewhere beyond your memory. In traditional spiritual teachings, especially in Buddhist thought, there is a very vivid term for this: the beings to whom we owe karmic debts. Not only people, but sometimes animals, situations, or even what feels like a persistent fate. It is said that these karmic creditors are not here to ruin you, but to ask for repayment, to ask for resolution. They may appear as difficult family members, painful partners, unreasonable bosses, or even relentless inner patterns of guilt and fear. In this long story mine is like sharing, we are going to unpack who these karmic creditors really are, why they cling to us, how they show up in our lives, and, most importantly, how we can transform these entanglements. Instead of fighting our fate, we will talk about how to slowly turn hostility into understanding, debt into resolution, and resentment into wisdom. Imagine for a moment that life is not just what you remember from childhood until today. Imagine it as a much longer river, where your current life is just one visible section. Upstream, beyond what you can recall, you have met many beings, loved many, hurt many, saved some, abandoned others. Some debts were paid in full, others were not. Some promises were kept, others broken. All of that unfinished business does not simply evaporate when you are born with a fresh memory. It waits in the subtle layers of consciousness, like seeds stored in deep soil, waiting for the right conditions to sprout. When we talk about karmic creditors, we are talking about the beings connected to those seeds. Maybe in a past life you harmed them, took advantage of them, or caused them to suffer in ways that weren't ever resolved. Maybe you took their property, their life, their dignity, or their happiness, and then walked away. Now, in this life, they reappear. They do not show up waving a contract saying you owe me. Instead, they come wrapped in the costumes of this world: a demanding parent, a cold partner, a jealous colleague, a child who constantly rebels, or even a stranger whose actions change the entire direction of your life. Have you ever met someone for the first time and instantly felt an inexplicable discomfort, fear, or rejection, even though they did nothing obvious to offend you? Or, on the other hand, someone who made you feel intense affection or attraction, almost immediately, beyond rational explanation. These strong, sudden reactions are often hints of old connections. It is as if your deeper mind recognizes them before your thinking brain has time to interpret. Karmic creditors are not always the ones who shout at you. Sometimes they are the ones you cling to the most. You might be unable to leave a relationship even though you know it is destroying your peace. You might repeatedly return to the same person who hurt you, excusing them again and again. From the outside, people ask, why can you not just walk away? And you yourself may not know. It is as if there is a chain tied to your heart, and the other end is somewhere in a forgotten past. There was once a woman we will call Maria. Outwardly she was smart, capable, and kind, but her love life was a series of painful repetitions. Every partner she chose had similar patterns: emotionally unavailable, self-centered, sometimes even verbally abusive. After each breakup, she would swear never to repeat the same mistake. Yet somehow, the next person always carried the same script. One day, exhausted and confused, she went to a teacher who understood karmic law. She did not ask for fortune-telling. She simply asked, "Why do I always end up here?" Instead of giving her a fatalistic answer, the teacher guided her to look at her own heart. They talked about her childhood. Her father had been distant and critical. She learned to chase love that never fully arrived, to prove she deserved attention by overgiving and enduring. This was the psychological surface. But deep below, the teacher explained, there were likely karmic threads even older than her childhood. Perhaps, in previous lives, she had played the role of the one who neglected others, who took loyal hearts for granted, who made others chase her and suffer in silence. Now, in this life, the script had reversed. She was both repeating her childhood wound and meeting beings whose souls had unresolved debts with hers. They were not simply bad people punished by destiny. They were participants in a long drama. Just like her. When she heard this, something in Maria softened. Instead of seeing herself as a victim and them as villains, she started to see a more complex picture, a field of intertwined debts, each looking for closure. This shift did not magically fix her relationships overnight, but it gave her a completely different starting point for change. Instead of asking, "Why are they so terrible?" she began asking, "What am I here to learn? What can I resolve so that this pattern no longer needs to repeat?" That question is the beginning of turning karmic enemies into karmic teachers. Sometimes, karmic creditors do not show up as people at all. They may appear as recurring illnesses, persistent financial struggles, or repeated accidents that seem almost uncanny. There are stories of people who, from childhood, suffer from a specific physical weakness for no clear medical reason, or people who, no matter how hard they work, always reach a certain level of financial stability and then suddenly lose it through theft, betrayal, or unforeseen disaster. From the viewpoint of pure chance, these may be considered random misfortune. But from the perspective of deep karmic law, they might be part of a repayment process. Maybe in some previous life, that person gained wealth through exploitative methods, taking from others what did not truly belong to them. Maybe they used their physical strength to harm others rather than protect them. In this life, even if they remember nothing, the echo of their actions returns. The karmic creditors here might be the energies of those they once harmed, or the very patterns of harm seeking balance. Now, it is crucial to say this in a gentle and clear way. This view is not meant to blame the victim. It is not about saying, "You suffer, therefore you must have done something terrible." That kind of thinking is harsh and shallow. Instead, the point is nothing in the moral universe is meaningless. Even suffering can be used as an opportunity to awaken, to repay, to cleanse, and to transform. It is not about pointing fingers at your past self. It is about asking, given that I am suffering now, how can I respond in a way that ends this cycle rather than deepens it? So, who exactly are these karmic creditors? They might be beings you directly harmed in the past, perhaps someone you lied to, betrayed, or even killed in a previous existence. You may meet them again now in another form. That person who cannot trust you no matter how much you do. That colleague who always suspects your motives. That neighbor who constantly finds fault with you may carry the energy of someone who once suffered because of your actions. They might also be beings you indirectly harmed, such as animals or strangers you never cared to see as fully alive. Imagine a person who, in another life, slaughtered animals without mercy, or destroyed forests and habitats for profit. Those animals and lars, with their fear, pain, and anger, do not necessarily just vanish. They may form the basis of karmic winds that blow back into this person's future experiences. Maybe in this life, that person is constantly surrounded by fear, anxiety, and hostility, unable to feel safe anywhere. They may have no idea why their inner world feels like a battlefield. From the outside, it might appear like a mental health issue only. From a karmic angle, it may also be the echo of past harm, Karmic creditors can also be connected to vows and promises that weren't ever fulfilled. Perhaps you promised to take care of someone and did not. Perhaps you swore to support someone until the end but left halfway, causing them to fall into despair. In a later life, their soul may still carry that wound, and they come seeking not revenge but closure. They may appear now as someone who demands more commitment from you than you feel ready to give, or someone who constantly tests your reliability. So why do they cling to us? Why do they not simply forgive and walk away? The truth is, in many cases they cannot. They are not necessarily conscious beings sitting somewhere saying, "I will never forgive you." Often, they are like knots of emotional energy, built from fear, anger, grief, and disappointment, wrapped around the memory of you. Unless these knots aren't tied through understanding and compassion, they stay. They might fade for a while, but when conditions ripen, they reappear. You can think of karma as unfinished vibrations. When you hurt someone, it is not just the physical act. It is the emotional wave you leave inside them. If that wave is strong and unresolved, it will look for a chance to return to its source. Your deeper consciousness is that source. Until that vibration is acknowledged and transformed, it will keep circling. This is why, in Buddhist practice and in many spiritual traditions, there is such emphasis on repentance, asking forgiveness, and sincerely wishing well even to those you cannot see. It is not about performing a ritual out of fear. It is about opening your heart to the reality that you have, across many lives, hurt others as much as you have been hurt. It is about saying, from a deep and honest place, if I have caused you pain, known or unknown, I am willing to face that and repay it through goodness now. This attitude does not make you weak. On the contrary, it takes great courage. It is much easier to say, I am the victim, everyone else is wrong. It is much harder to say, I may have played the role of the one who hurt others too. I may owe more than I realize. Let me try to settle those debts with love instead of ignorance. Imagine a big invisible ledger in the universe. On one side, there is the harm you have received. On the other side, the harm you have delivered. Most of us only remember one side clearly, but the ledger remembers both. When karmic creditors show up, it is like the universe gently placing that ledger in front of you and asking, would you like to reconcile this account? You can respond with anger, denial, and resistance, which usually leads to more suffering, more conflict, and more interest added to the debt. Or you can respond with humility, reflection, and compassion, which begins to dissolve the numbers on the page. Now the important question, how do we actually respond in daily life when these karmic creditors appear? First, we need awareness. If you do not recognize the pattern, you will simply fight it, resent it, and repeat it. So when you notice that certain kinds of people or events keep recurring in your life, ask yourself, what is the underlying pattern here? Is there a feeling, a reaction, or a belief that keeps showing up with different faces? For example, maybe you always feel abandoned. One partner leaves, then another, then a close friend drifts away. The storyline changes, but the core wound is the same. Instead of only blaming the people who left, you can ask, what is this abandonment teaching me? Is it reminding me of times when I left others behind too easily? Is it inviting me to develop a sense of inner security that does not depend entirely on anyone else? Second, we cultivate repentance, not in a self-hating way, but in a healing way. You can set aside quiet time to sincerely speak to those you might have hurt, even if you do not know their names or faces. You might say something like, if there are beings I have harmed in this or any other life, through word, action, or thought, I acknowledge your pain. I am sincerely sorry. May my good actions now be shared with you. May you find peace, and may our connection move from enmity to blessing. You can combine this with acts of kindness in your daily life. when you help someone in genuine need, when you protect a vulnerable being, when you speak gently instead of harshly, you can mentally dedicate that goodness to all beings you have ever harmed. In this way, every act of virtue becomes a repayment, a small installment toward clearing ancient debts. Third, we practice compassion, even toward those who currently cause us pain. This does not mean letting them walk all over us. It does not mean staying in abusive situations. It means that even when you set boundaries or walk away, you do so without wishing them destruction. You can say in your heart, I need to protect myself now, that I still wish for your awakening and healing. This is one of the most powerful ways to transform karmic relationships. When you respond to hostility with hatred, the karmic knot tightens. When you respond with clear boundaries and sincere goodwill, the knot begins to loosen. The energy of revenge has nowhere to land. Over time, the intensity of the conflict decreases. Fourth, we deepen our inner practice. Whether you call it meditation, prayer, mindfulness, or contemplative reflection, the principle is the same. You create a still space in which you can observe your own mind. In that stillness, many buried emotions and memories may surface. You may suddenly feel deep sorrow when you see a particular kind of suffering. You may feel inexplicable fear or guilt at the thought of specific images or sounds. Do not push these away. They may be echoes of old karmic connection. As you observe them with kindness, you are already beginning to free yourself from them. The more you develop clarity on equanimity, the less reactive you become when karmic creditors knock at the door of your life. Instead of automatically fighting or fleeing, you can respond from a place of understanding. Imagine standing in front of someone who is shouting at you for no obvious reason. Without spiritual insight, you might immediately shout back, or shrink in fear, or run away in resentment. With some karmic awareness, a new possibility appears. You might think, this person is suffering. Perhaps our connection did not start today. I will not take every word they say as absolute truth. I will also not hate them. I will protect myself where needed. But I can also hold the thought that we are both trapped in a larger pattern, and that my calm response may begin to end it. Sometimes, the most astonishing transformation happens when one side decides to stop the cycle. You may have heard stories of people who chose forgiveness instead of revenge after great harm was done to them. From a karmic standpoint, that moment is like dropping a heavy stone that has been carried for many lifetimes. The karmic creditor will feel it too, at some level. Instead of feeding the fire of hatred, you quietly pour water on it. Of course, all of this is easier said than done. When you are in the middle of pain, spiritual ideas can feel distant. You might think, I am tired. I am angry. I want justice. Not lectures about karma. That feeling is real and valid. You do not have to pretend to be saintly. You can admit that you are hurt, that you are angry, that you want things to be different. The key is what you do after acknowledging that. Do you stay stuck in the same story, or do you gently open the door to a larger understanding? Remember, karmic teachers are not here to make you passively accept abuse. They are here to offer you a map to show you that there is a deeper level on which your life can be healed, not just rearranged. Let us bring this closer to your own experience. Think of someone in your life right now who triggers you the most. It could be a family member whose words feel like knives. It could be a co-worker who always undermines you. It could be a neighbor who seems determined to make your life harder. When you picture them, your body might tense up. Your jaw might tighten. Now, imagine for a moment that this person is not just a random obstacle in your path, but someone whose soul has been side by side with yours before. Perhaps in another chapter of the story, you were the one who made them feel small, who dismissed their feelings, who took something precious from them without caring. What you are feeling now might be a small taste of what they once felt. You do not have to force yourself to love them instantly. That is unrealistic. But can you allow a tiny seed of understanding to be planted? Can you consider the possibility that this difficult relationship is a chance to finally bring closure to something long overdue? When you begin to see your karmic creditors in this light, your heart posture changes. You might still say no to unreasonable demands. You might still reject harmful behavior, but you will do it with a quieter mind, with less inner warfare. You will be more careful with your own action, knowing that whatever harm you throw out into the world may come back later through different faces. In this sense, karmic creditors are not your enemies. They are your exams. They show you where your practice is real and where it is only theory. It is easy to talk about compassion sitting alone in a peaceful room. It is much harder to practice compassion when someone is actively testing your patience. Yet, that is exactly where your soul grows the most. At the end of the day, the main work is to transform the inner ground. The more you cultivate sincerity, humility, and a commitment to awakening, the less space there is in you for old debts to stick. When you choose to stop adding new harm, when you sincerely work to repay what you can through kindness and service, your karmic record begins to change direction. You may not see all the results immediately. Some debts may still need time to clear, but deep inside, you will feel something shifting. You will feel less like a victim of an invisible curse and more like a conscious traveler who is learning to read the language of destiny. Before we close this episode, I want to share a simple, heartfelt practice you can try. Find a quiet moment. Sit or lie down in a comfortable position. Close your eyes and take a few slow breaths. Then, in your mind, say something like, "To all beings I have ever harmed, known or unknown, in this or any other life, through word, deed, or thought, I acknowledge your suffering. I am truly sorry. If you are still holding on to anger, fear, or grief toward me, I do not ask you to forget what happened, but I humbly ask that you allow me to make amends through my actions now. May my good deeds, my practice, and my sincere wish for your happiness reach you, wherever you are. May the bonds of hatred between us be transformed into seeds of wisdom and compassion. May we all be free from the cycle of hurting and being hurt." You do not have to believe in past lives for this to be powerful. Even within this life alone, there are people you have hurt and forgotten. This kind of inner statement softens your own heart, makes you more mindful moving forward, and sends a different message into the invisible web connecting all beings. In daily life, continue this spirit. When you experience difficulty, instead of only asking why me, try also asking, what can I learn, repay, or transform here? When someone triggers you, instead of only defending, try also to see their pain. When you feel tempted to act in ways that may harm others, remember that nothing disappears. It only waits. If you have listened this far, I believe it is because something in you is already awakening. You are no longer satisfied with surface explanations. You sense that your life is part of a much deeper story. You are not alone in this. Many people around the world are quietly doing this inner work, facing their own karmic creditors with more honesty, more compassion, and more courage. Each person who chooses understanding over revenge, responsibility over blame, and practice over complaining makes the world a little lighter. As we wrap up, I invite you to reflect on your own journey. Are there patterns in your life that feel like persistent debts? Are there relationships that seem strangely entangled and hard to escape? Are there pains that keep revisiting you, asking to be acknowledged? You are welcome to share part of your story in the comments. Sometimes, writing it out is already the start of healing. Someone on the other side of the world might read your words and suddenly feel less alone in their own struggles. That is also a form of repayment, turning your pain into understanding for others. If this sharing has given you new insight, comfort, or courage to face your own karmic lessons, please consider subscribing to the channel, giving this video a like, and sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. If you wish to support this space more deeply, you can also consider joining as a member. Every bit of support helps keep this ongoing conversation about karma, wisdom, compassion, and destiny alive. Thank you for spending this time together. No matter what invisible debts you feel you are carrying, remember this: as long as you are willing to face them with honesty and love, you are already changing the script. Karmic creditors may follow you for a while, but they do not have to own your future. With every sincere step of practice, you are moving from being bound by past debts toward walking freely in a field of awakening.
There comes a time when you realize you want something that belongs just to you, something that brings comfort and keeps you connected to your inner world. Wall-crafted bracelet does exactly that. Quietly, softly, and consistently. If you felt drawn to any bracelet in this video, you'll find the purchase link in the video description, and many more auctions in the channel's storefront. Because sometimes the smallest item can bring the biggest sense of peace.